Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm just going to keep doing this until the energy comes back into my soul.
Welcome to Questions Without Notice, the podcast where we delve into the unscripted, unfiltered world of local government politics, with your hosts, father and daughter duo, Camillo and Amelia Blanco.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is in the previous meeting you had asked for the report into the suspension of council back when you were the mayor.
Yep, in 2019, yep.
In 2019.
My previous question at the Ordinary Council meeting, 1st of November, I requested the report that was commissioned by the state government into the suspension and dissolving of the town of Port Hedland in 2019. And now I received a response from the administration, and that was a letter from Ron Jurovich, and comments made by the mentor who was appointed by the Department of Local Government as a mentor. This is not the proper document that outlines the authority of the state and the minister to suspend and dissolve a democratically elected council, and I reject that document. After the written report that authorises the minister to exercise Section 8.15C of the Local Government Act 1995.
The answer that you got was a report, not the report that you asked for.
No. I received a report. Well, it's not a report. It was an A4 bit of paper with the mentor's comments. Ron Jurovich was
the mentor.
Was the mentor for Port Hedland. He was applied by the Department of Local Government to be the mentor for Port Hedland, and they gave me that report. That's got no authority. That report's got no authority at all. You know, there is a legislative requirement that specific things are done, and that they have specific amounts of evidence to then make a decision in removing a democratically elected council. The Minister for Local Government tried to suspend Cambridge.
Yep.
And Cambridge went to court. They put injunction on the minister in the High Court of Western Australia. And Justice Tottle absolutely caned the Minister for Local Government and said that he had overreached his powers and that he had nothing to actually support a proposal to suspend a council using Section 8.15C of the Local Government Act. And that's what Minister Templeman did with the town of Port Hedland. Now,
So what's that section? What did he exercise?
So what he did was he effectively suspended the council without having the requirement for evidence. So he could do it straight away. Okay? So things were so bad that an inquiry didn't need to happen, and he could suspend the council straight away.
Ah, I see.
Okay.
So that 8 point whatever gives
8.15C gives him the power to do that.
Okay.
But while he has the power to do it, he still needs to produce a report to then tell everybody the reasons why this has happened, and his reasoning, the department's reasoning,
essentially justify his use of
absolutely 100%. But the Act also states that report needs to be issued to the members of the council.
Right.
So we should have had it back then. We didn't get it, and I've been asking for it for ages.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it was 2019.
That's right. But
it's almost been 5 years.
But the other thing is, two councils were suspended at the same time, and I've stated this council a couple of times already. But Perenjori was suspended with the town of Port Hedland. The exact same scenario happened. Perenjori was suspended, and their council, 5 of their council members resigned. They lost the quorum. and then the council was dissolved.
Which is exactly what happened with you guys.
Yeah, that's right, with us. But the Department of Local Government did a report into Perenjori and why the minister used that section of the Act to suspend the council. So a report was commissioned for them.
Yep.
But then we come to Port Hedland, and Port Hedland was suspended, okay. They didn't allow an election process to happen, okay. So 4 members dropped off because as soon as you finish your term, you then are not elected anymore and you drop off. So there's only 5 members left.
Yep.
And then Peter Carter resigned, the quorum was lost, council dissolved, okay. There was still a requirement to do the report because we were actually suspended, and the minister didn't allow the election process to happen. So that report is much bigger than Perenjori. We need to know why. Firstly, the council was suspended. We need to know why the election process didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, and the reasons behind it.
And just to bring it back, because I think we might be jumping around a bit, for a little bit of history lesson. When you were the mayor, what happened was you were given a show cause notice.
And the show cause notice was issued under Section 8.15C. All right, but the notice itself is issued under a different section, but the original section is 815C.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what is a show cause notice?
A show cause notice is if the department or the minister thinks that there is not an application of good governance within the sector,
Yep.
then he'll give you a show cause notice and saying, we have information to show that you are not doing the right thing.
Yep.
You need to explain yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
So then obviously you guys gave a response.
I gave a response, yes.
And they weren't
Mine
happy
was
with
a
that?
very detailed response where I have told them that there has been no items presented to council that have been rejected. The proper process was happening. We'd paid off all of our debt. We have, increased our income. We had reduced crime in the area. We were working on all of the new plans to rebuild the town. We were doing some significant things.
Yep.
Okay. So we were well ahead of where we were when I first took the reins.
Yep.
Okay. So there was a lot of improvements that were happening, a lot of big things going on,
And they weren't happy with that response?
Well, clearly not. They just ignored it. But they didn't give us any procedural fairness. That's another thing that I complained about. Where is the procedural fairness?
Yeah. So
in my opinion, it was a political assassination. That's what it was. And the reason for it is
because you were the squeaky wheel.
I was a squeaker. I was talking about all of the stuff that they didn't want to talk about.
And that's when they threw that trolley out.
Exactly.
So show cause notice went in. You gave a response. They ignored it. They went through with suspension.
Yep.
While you guys were suspended, some of the councillors' election
the election came through. So 4 of the councillors
timed out essentially.
That's right. They timed out. So they dropped off. So there's only 5 left.
And then Peter Carter resigned.
Yep.
And then you lost quorum.
That's right.
And then the council was dissolved.
That's right.
That's what actually happened.
Yes.
If the quorum wasn't lost, you would have played out the suspension for however long they suspended you for.
6 months, yeah.
6 months. And then
you go back.
The council would have been reinstated.
That's right.
So that's what actually happened, because I know there's a lot of confusion around. Everyone says that you got sacked.
It's not confusion. It's misinformation.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of the newspapers said the wrong thing as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they continued. Well, hang on. The newspapers picked up on what the commissioner said. because he said in a council meeting that we were sacked.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So they picked up on. He said, his commentary around the community, and I reject that.
Yeah.
So, now I'm, a lot of people may think, sour grapes. What are you doing? This was in the past, whatever. This is a democratically elected government, a council. All right. We need to know what's going on here.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that the government of the day and the people in that powerful position were applying the law correctly. Otherwise, if you don't ensure that they're doing the right thing, then clearly,
what are they doing with everything else?
they're gonna do it again. And when they don't like somebody that's been elected, the same stuff applies.
They just keep throwing trolleys out.
Exactly. So, it's easy. There is a legislative requirement that a report has to be commissioned. We need to know the reasons for it. Just give me the report and I'll show you all. And if it's my fault, okay, no worries, it's my fault. If it's not my fault, well, we need to talk about that.
But there's got to be a report.
The report's got to be there.
But there's no report.
No report.
So it was suspicious then?
It's suspicious. Yes, I'm always suspicious, but
Well, you said before Perenjori, I think I've said that right, was suspended at the same time. They received a report and you didn't.
That's right.
What's the reason? There's got to be a reason.
Some people may like me, some people may not. But, you got to have a look at this and say, okay, regardless what your position is, let's see the report.
Yeah. That's why the laws are in place, to keep all levels of government accountable.
Exactly. Dead right. That's right.
So there is a report. Now, that report should have been presented to the WA Parliament and the WA Governor. And I'm requesting the report that complies with 813 of the Act. The report that outlines the evidence available to the Minister in his decision to apply 815C. This is one report. I'm after that report. So, Council and CEO, like I've said 3 or 4 times, I'm after that report. Or if that report is not available because it was not commissioned, I'm after an apology from the state government for its overreach of its power, and I'm after the resignation of the then Minister of Local Government, David Templeman, for his undemocratic application of ministerial powers. So can we request and receive the report commissioned that deals with the use of Section 8.15C against the Town of Port Hedland Council in 2019? Thank you.
Did you get a reply?
No, it's a question. I asked a question. So I've re-asked.
You've asked a question.
I've re-asked the question, and and I've said, if no report has been commissioned about what I've spoken about, well then I want an apology from the state government for their overreach of power, and I also want the then Minister for Local Government, David Templeman. I want him to resign as well, because he has overreached his ministerial powers.
Which has already been proven once with Perenjori.
100%. No.
With Cambridge.
Cambridge, that's right.
Sorry, which has already been proven once with
where
Cambridge.
the Supreme Court judge has whacked him.
Yeah. And we'll put that, actually.
Yeah, we can link that.
We can link that.
Yeah, we can link that, yeah.
You guys can have a look because it is a pretty interesting read. So the next thing we were going to talk about was the motion that you actually put forward.
Oh, the Jibson Close, yes.
So tell us about the motion that you put forward.
So the Jibson Close motion, you would have seen at the 1st of November meeting, I actually put a notice of motion up to bring this back to council to review. And I explained to the council it is a decision to bring the item back, to review. I explained that to the council.
Yeah.
So, effectively did a floor motion And the council voted on that unanimously. So they all agreed that we'll bring it back to the next meeting. I think it was about a week and a half later, I got a email saying that they had removed that from the agenda item. So there was going to be no Jibson Close item in the next agenda. So as soon as I got that, I put a notice of motion. I got other council members to sign a notice of motion, and I went and presented that straight away. I think it was the next day.
So you've asked for the revocation of the Jibson Close approval in the previous meeting.
Yep.
And the admin had told you.
No, I asked for it at the previous meeting, and the council's
said yes.
The council said yes. It was voted 9-0, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. No one objected to it. Yeah.
Yeah. But a week later, you said you received an email saying that they weren't going to include it in the agenda.
That's right. They said it was it didn't comply with the.
What didn't comply?
Well, they said that the floor motion was not legal. Effectively, I wasn't allowed to do a floor motion, and get the council to decide and bring in something back. And they said that can only happen if the item is being discussed within the agenda. So if the subject that you're talking about is being discussed within the agenda.
Yeah, but if you can't put it in the agenda.
Okay, well, there you go. You got it. You got it.
If you can't put it in the agenda because they said you can't, you're not allowed for whatever reason.
You can't do it at the meeting, they're saying. You can't do it at the meeting.
But councillors have all of their power in the meeting.
Absolutely they do. You got it. You got it. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so effectively, they're saying now you can't do it within the meeting. So there's a couple of issues here. First, I don't agree with them.
Yep.
Okay. And council members, I believe, can put these motions forward at the meeting, and I think it's a good practice, okay, because I haven't put the motion up and said we're going to decide this right now.
Yeah.
I put the motion up and said let's do it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
So you got a full month to think about it, to discuss it,
Gives
whatever.
them notice.
Exactly, gives them notice, and then they can do their own research and be informed at the next meeting as to which way they want to vote. So again, this is, in my opinion, another restriction on local governments, local government councils. All right, to not be able to represent their community. This is what.
Yeah.
Effectively the council does. It represents its community. Okay, so that's a big problem for me, and we'll just keep pushing through, I suppose, and see what happens. But again, people need to be involved, and they need to be interested in this sort of stuff. They need to object to this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So then you have good representation within your council.
Yeah.
I suppose the issue is council members themselves need to have an understanding of what's going on and not put up with this sort of conduct.
Yeah. So going back to the Jibson Close motion, aside from them saying that you bringing up in the meeting wasn't the correct way of doing it, did they actually come forward with the correct way of doing it, or did they just say, no, you can't do this? And then...
Well, what they said at that stage, no, I don't think so. No, they didn't. Not at that stage.
Because that's another point that I wanted to bring up as well, right? If you've got experience in this field, but a lot of the other councillors, this is the first time they're sitting, as a councillor. If they were in this situation and the admin came to them and said, you can't do this is the wrong way of doing it, and then didn't offer them the correct way of doing it, that's going to deter that councillor.
That's right, exactly.
To then, have the confidence to try it again.
That's right.
And also, and not even try it again, just to do it correctly.
That's right.
The next time as well. To me, that's an issue, because as your administration is supposed to have a governance team. They're supposed to be around the rules as well. They should be able to assist the councillors in doing things correctly and the stuff that they want to do and bring forward. And that didn't happen to you. They just said no.
That's right. But I put the notice of motion in basically straight away. So then it puts it back on the agenda.
Yeah, but you already knew what the other way you could do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So aside from that, I just wanted to make that as a comment that I don't see that, that's not helpful. Anyway, so because you already have done your reading and you know what the correct way of putting up a motion is, when they told you no, you can't do it, you went and did it with the paper trail way, which is submitting a notice of motion, getting the signatures from other councillors.
That's right.
And submitting it that way. And then it came to this agenda meeting. And that's the only reason I wanted to bring it up, because I thought that process was interesting. They didn't offer any help. They just said no.
Afterwards, they have explained it. But I think maybe because I, sent an email saying I disagree with what you're doing.
Right.
And,
only because you challenged it.
Yeah, gave my thoughts on the whole thing. So, which I do normally.
That's normal for you.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, it came up in this meeting, and we're going to see what happened with the motion now.
Item number 14, the previous notice which has been given. We have before us one motion of notice, which is item 14.1. The notice of motion is submitted by Mr. Blanco and is actioned. Is that the one? That's right, yeah. Whereas send the previous resolution of council, such a decision must be made via absolute majority decision and be signed by at least 3 councillors under Regulation 10 of the Local Government Act, Administration Regulation 2016. The notice was signed by Councillor Blanco, Councillor Butson and Councillor Arentz. The mover? Yep.
Are you after a mover?
After a mover, yes.
Obviously, I'll movers.
Yep, of course. And seconder? Councillor Butson.
But you said it that way because it's your motion.
Yes.
You've already moved it by putting it in. Is that correct?
You do have to move it, but he didn't call for a move. Normally, what you would probably do on something like this is you'll pass it over to the person that's put the motion up and say, "This is your motion. Did you want to move it?" And you'd say, "Yes, I'll move the motion."
Right.
It's the chair has to be helpful to the whole council, regardless. If there's factions or whatever, it has to be done in such a way where, the intent is made.
Yeah.
To move the item or whatever the intent is. There's got to be, an interaction from the chair to make the meeting go forward. And, clearly there's that's lacking a little bit here.
Point of clarification.
Yep.
So are we
Talking about 14.1.1.
So correction is the mover
Councillor Blanco.
for the officer's recommendation or the revoke?
I did see both motions in there, and I really don't have an issue with either one of them. So.
Oh, so this is interesting here. The agenda was changed late.
Yeah.
So I did see both of the motions, which effectively said the same thing. One motion says, vote to, withdraw the previous decision by absolute majority and to supply all of the information, to the council, and also that information would have to be then put into the agenda or the minutes of the meeting, right? So everybody could see it. And the other motion states that, to revoke the previous decision, but left out the putting all of the information into the...
Right.
Or giving the council all of the information and then putting it in the agenda.
Yeah.
But I don't have any issues with either of them because, it's been discussed at previous council meetings multiple times. Everybody knows what's going on here and they know about the emails and they know that, that things haven't been issued to the council. But what I didn't know is that there was a totally different motion that was also within the agenda. I didn't realise. So because it had been applied late, and I wasn't told about it verbally.
Right.
Okay, so and that one there was to not move forward with revoking the motion. So I'm assuming here that both of those items that I'm seeing there is, to discuss revoking the motion.
Right.
Put some wording there in terms of item 1 and 2, revoking and then withdrawing the DA.
Okay, so,
As long as you're happy with that, if not, go with.
I can't hear anything you're saying.
well, whichever one the council wants to move, I'm happy to move each one. We end up with the same result.
So this is interesting, this here, now that I look back on it, because now that I know there's a third option, all right, I'm happy for the council to move each one. We're still going to end up with the same outcome, right? We're discussing the same thing. And, everybody's looking at each other because they know I don't know there's a third one. You can see that straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But no one's offering.
No, they're not offering because they know what they've done. This is why a podcast like this is good, right? Because people will be looking at this thing. What's going on here? They got no idea what's going on, and okay, this is what's happening. And then their eyes are open to the manipulation that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, when I was watching it live, I had the new agenda on my phone, so I didn't actually see. I don't know. I must have been looking at the different page or wherever the new one was, where it says, because the question that I asked when I was watching it is, why wasn't your motion? Why wasn't your motion? The intent of your motion was completely changed in the offer's recommendation that I read on the agenda. So I was confused as well, listening to you go, "Oh, whichever one is fine." I'm like, well, that's not your motion. They've completely changed
right. There you go.
Yeah.
So I was going off the
assumption that.
Well, no, I was because I do my research and then I put my notes down, and then I have the agenda opened up. So I hadn't refreshed the agenda.
Right.
Okay, so it didn't have the new recommendation there. I was still working off the one that they hadn't changed.
Updated, yeah.
Exactly. So and nobody said anything about it.
Yeah, how late was late? When did they change it?
Oh, on the day.
Yeah, it's not on, is it?
No.
Especially right now, you can tell that everyone's reading something different to what you are. But no one's offered to clarify that for you. They're just going to let you run with it.
Yeah, because then, what can I say? This sort of stuff shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
If they want to change things behind the scenes, then everybody should be informed. If they don't think anybody's up to speed, ring them up. Okay, we're changing this, or this is because this was my motion.
Yeah.
All right, I put it forward, yet I wasn't told of any alternatives.
Yeah, it's not a good look, is it?
No.
Let's continue.
There's the ones. Yep.
I think the council would probably much rather move the other one that's on the screen, not this one.
Yep.
The
Go to the other one on the screen.
So, I've suggested that the council would probably much rather move the other one because the other one doesn't give the public all of the detail.
Right. So you haven't refreshed it yet?
No, I haven't, no.
Yeah, I'm just going through to turn the page. Tom, can you turn the page?
It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.1.
It is.
Was that taken out?
No, I'm not quite sure why.
So that's
Yeah, so this,
the alternative motion.
Just reference, so my confusion is the fact that we've got 14.1.1 also tabled, so just want to clarify that we're moving 14.1, not 14.1.1, because that's a completely different.
The home-based business.
For clarification purposes, councillors, when the notice of motion was received from Councillor Blanco, and that's what's on the screen at the moment as it was received, I think the officers tried to assist by putting the motion in.
That's not how it was
two points.
received.
One to revoke the previous decision from August and one to then withdraw the DA. The other motion in the officer report at 14.1.1 is, if you like, an alternate recommendation based on the officer's advice.
So this is where I realise there's an alternate.
yeah, this is the part that confused me as well, because while they had your motion on the screen, they only flick to the officer's recommendation in what they're referring to once.
Yeah.
For a couple of seconds, and then they flick back.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can't make a decision, I'll move the motion on the screen.
Yeah, that's what made sense to me. Is you were talking about the motion on the screen. That's not what he was referring to, because the first motion
That's right.
is the officer's recommendation.
That's right.
Yes.
Can I also
Yes.
foreshadow the motion, please?
Foreshadow the one at 14.1.1, the
Correct.
officer recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See, people also got to understand there's a lot going on here when you're in a meeting. You've got to listen to what the mayor says. I'm watching the other councillors as well. I'm writing stuff down. There's a lot going on, and when they start changing stuff, because you've already reviewed the agenda, when they start changing stuff, it's like, oh, what's going on here? Confusion starts to set in. So, when you see me asking questions and what's going on here, and what position we're at, and all of that sort of stuff, there's some things going on in the background that people aren't clear on.
So the Jibson Close, this has been a subject of review and contention, for a few months now. And while the officer's recommendation states that, there's not enough evidence to revoke the motion, there are issues with the item and the way the item was presented to the council. That's quite clear in my opinion. And it's obvious that when no investigation is done, then no evidence is going to be found. But when we find information, that's been withheld within the agendas, and then again, following concerns from the public, it seems that, there's some sort of cover-up going on here to minimise any reputational damage to the administration. Yet the administration is quite happy to suggest the fault lay with the council, stating that they received all that the council has received all the information relevant to the approval. The evidence was provided to the admin and the council about the request for sex at the business in Jibson Close. And the advert was issued to the council through which clearly indicated, it was a happy house for men. Past council members have stated that they did not know about the complaint submitted by the member of the public that specifically stated it was a brothel. And they were not issued with the email trail and advertising that stated this was a brothel. But the mayor approved the media release suggesting the council knew. So either the council members, some council members are privy to all of the documents and the evidence, and some are not. Or someone's not being truthful when it comes to the interaction with council members, the public and the media. You know, while I'm reading this, I'm thinking that, you know, because there's been an objection to the motion, I'm talking about this, but really we're all going to be agreeing, you know, with it in the end. Okay.
Well, I was wrong there, because I still didn't get that there was a conspiracy behind the scenes to knock it on the head.
What? So at this point, you still didn't realise?
I can't. No, I didn't realise, because that is the point here. You see, if they knew what they were doing, right, and I knew, and because I didn't know there was another motion there to effectively knock it on the head. So I'm just assuming that this is the only motion. Okay, so they're going to have to make a decision on this motion, and you know, if they're uncomfortable about the proposal, then all you would do is say yes, you agree to it, and then the motion passes, and that's it. End of conversation.
Yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't be talking about, whatever I'm talking about here, and enlightening the media and the public to my thoughts. You know what I mean? So I think I realised the situation after, when I thought, oh, they're not voting for this, which I thought was strange, because he foreshadowed a motion, so he foreshadowed the other motion.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
So this whole time you didn't realise that there was an alternative motion?
No. Because I said what I said there. I didn't have an understanding. So, and then he's foreshadowed a motion here. So that means if this is lost, this motion is lost, then he's foreshadowed another motion, which means then we discuss the other motion.
Yeah.
If this motion goes forward, him foreshadowing a motion doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
All right.
Get it done so nobody's talking about this again, in the public eye. So the administration is suggesting that there's no evidence, but I've been told by members of the community that they've used the service at the place. Okay. So obviously they're not going to come to a council meeting and share their sexual conquests with the town in a public meeting. That would turn the live stream into a peep show. And the only way that you can get the evidence the administration wants is to make an appointment and film the engagement. And that would end up being a porn show. And also, it's an illegal act, considering brothels or prostitution is not legal as a business in a residential area. And it's quite legal in a commercial, we've had it in industry, which is Wedgfield or light industry, so it's quite legal there, But residential, no. So I don't think the administration has been neutral on this subject. It's clear to me from what I've seen that we've had some restriction in certain information. The admin has released media that suggests the council members knew about the intricate details in the complaint, and they clearly did not. If council members do nothing about this conduct, you effectively are agreeing that this sort of behaviour is your standard and you're happy with it to continue. In relation to the legal advice, some of you, sometimes you got to have the fight, okay? And in relation to something like this, I think, if you have a problem with, somebody objecting and then getting, taking legal actions. I think, we're well within our rights to, go hard in this situation. So I totally discount the legal aspect of it.
What were you talking about there? What legal aspect?
There's in the legal advice they're saying that if we withdraw the approval, that they could then apply legal action to the town. Okay, which yeah, they could. It doesn't mean that they would win.
Yeah.
Okay, it means that if they wanted to get a lawyer and apply legal action to the town because an approval was given and now the approval has been revoked, for sure, do the legal action. And then the town would say, okay, we have evidence here that you've been using it out of hours and that you have been using it for services that don't comply with the local planning scheme.
Yeah.
And it gets knocked on the head.
Yeah.
All right? Because they haven't abided by the rules surrounding the development application.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, they weren't using it within the approved terms.
Exactly. Exactly.
And making the best decisions for them. If that means we've got to go legal, well, that's what we do. So in relation to the item, it specifically states that we need reasons for revoking. So I'm stating the business conducted at the premises is inconsistent with the town planning scheme. The business conducted at the premises is not in line with the council's values, and the evidence supplied by the public shows the business is working outside the approvals granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blanco. Councillor Button.
I actually agree with Councillor Blanco that we do have to do something about it, and obviously whether there's been something's happened in administration where people haven't been given it. There is a few councillors that said that they didn't receive it, and unfortunately went to council and it was approved without all the knowledge, and I think we do need to revoke it.
So is she talking because she was one of the signatures?
No, I've moved it. She seconded it.
Yeah.
So speakers for, I speak for first, and then it starts with a second speaker for, and then speakers against, speakers for, speakers against, until it's exhausted.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Button. Anyone else against? Councillor Christensen.
A lot to take in. A little bit concerned around the conversations around no investigations done. As far as I'm aware, the town's conducted multiple investigations on the property. Those investigations found nothing of substance to be able to back up the claims. Also further, a little bit concerned about, we talk about throwing away the legal advice and yet say in the same sentence as for the best of the community. I think we need to be very careful with, again, I've been known very well around the town that I'm good for picking a fight with, on items and concerns within the town. But I think we need to come back to reality here where it says very clearly, offers a recommendation with legal advice already received, saying that there is insufficient evidence to be able to support the conversation in relation to removing a small business's right to operate in the town. The town's very clear in saying that they understand it's illegal to run a brothel within inside the town boundaries. They've done that via the inclusion of stipulations within inside the development application. So I don't think you've got any argument that, again, if there was sufficient evidence here, that would happen. We draw on the conclusive evidence that's been mentioned. I'll draw a very clear fact that the text messages state a street name, not a location of a residence. So in my mind, that's circumstantial at best. So I think what we need to be doing is, again, looking at what the officer's recommendation is from 14.1.1, where it does state there, request that the CEO continue to conduct investigations as recommended. Again, it's the council here is not saying that we're supportive of the claims that have been made and the accusations that have been made. They've clearly stated that there's nothing they can do currently from a legal standpoint currently right now, and not just that they're willing to keep on pursuing it and ensure that we're getting the right things happening. Again, I'm a little bit apprehensive to make actions to close down businesses on evidence that clearly states from a legal point of view is circumstantial or insufficient in their words. So I'll leave it there, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Christensen. Anyone else for?
I would just like to have a clarification. I would like just a point of clarification. Has it not been that the people from Jibson Close have also now gone and dobbed other people in on Captain's Way?
What did she say?
She's talking about the business now operating at a different location.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, yes.
If we had to go by the standing orders, point of clarification is on the point of debate. So can we please bring it back to debate?
Yeah, it's okay.
Wait a minute, I didn't hear that before. He's the worst for it.
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You're going to talk about process of standing orders now? My God. This whole meeting has been a mess and you want to bring it up now.
Yeah.
That annoys me. Plus, some of the stuff he said there, to me it just sounds like we should just blindly follow admin and legal advice when it doesn't sound like he understands the legal advice. Legal advice is legal advice.
It's advice.
It's advice.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. And you already said the advice stated that they could put legal advice on the town for revoking the approval. That was
the requirement to revoke. Also requires the legal advice to be attached. You're going to get legal advice. Again, it's legal advice, and it's not. The only time that it actually becomes lawful is when it goes to court and a judge then decides, okay, your legal advice is good, yours is not, because you're always going to have two opposed. There's always one lawyer that objects to something the other lawyer is saying.
Yeah, it's about interpretation of the law.
Exactly.
That's why you need a lawyer to interpret the law.
Yeah.
Interpret the law.
That's right. So, unless it's black and white.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway.
Fine. Okay, anyone's against? Yes, Councillor Urquhart.
Thank you very much. Look, a lot of the stuff that's been brought to us at public question time, public statement time, that's been distributed around the place, that's been brought up by members of this council, at best is circumstantial. There's a lot of hearsay. Councillor Blanco, in his opening statements with the motion, did mention that there's, the only way we can do this is to go in there and film it, in which case that would go straight through to entrapment, which would be thrown out of any legal proceedings. So, we are in that place that people like to say, between the rock and the hard place. We've given the development application the tick based on what was presented to us.
Based on what was presented to them, but only the evidence that they wanted to include in that presentation.
That's right.
What was presented to them, those text messages, those complaints, those whatever that came from multiple members of the public during the last two question and statement times, are they not included in the information that the council was presented?
Well, clearly, It comes back to council members are there to represent the community.
That's what I said before.
You know,
There's community members that have had a problem with this place for multiple reasons. They came and talked to you. They've delivered. They've done their own investigation.
They've done their own.
They've gone as far. They've gone as far as to, what's the word? Pay for the service, and then tell and then report back to to people and go, yep, this is legit. I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's not enough.
Yeah. But, again, we are there to represent the community. Okay. And, when you have elected representatives that are clearly representing, the interests of the administration, you've lost, that representation that the community needs.
I said, and I this came up in conversation, just casual conversation a couple of weeks ago about this. What is the point of a council if you just blindly follow administration recommendations? Full stop. That's it. Whatever the administration says and put in the agenda, yes, no worries. We don't even need to read it.
Yeah.
Because we trust that they're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying. They're not doing any of their own research. They're not listening to members of the public with their complaints. They're saying, this is what it is. We should just send it through and go home.
Yep, that's right. So what is the point?
What's the point of a council? You might as well get rid of all of you and then just put a hiring panel in to just hire the staff, and then the staff can just run the town on their own.
Exactly.
We can stop this right now. Job done. Let's go. I'm hungry. It's dinner time.
Yeah. I know, but this is what
it's crazy.
This is what we're dealing with.
And again, it's not even about the. I'm not even mad about the subject matter itself. It's the process that is wrong here. And the it's blind leading the blind. And it's and the worst part about it is that it's a decision. They've made a choice to be blind.
Yeah. There's ex-council members that have come up and said in the public arena they were not given all the information.
Yep. And that's happened a couple of times.
It's happened a few times now. So, they're discounting that, and I don't understand how some members are saying they did receive it and some members are saying they didn't, when the members that are saying they didn't receive it were actually at the meeting when all of this information was supposed to be issued. And they said, no, we didn't get it. So someone
is misleading.
Yes.
Either way.
It just doesn't look good. The whole thing doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No. It doesn't. There's no flexibility here. It's just no. From the beginning, especially if you've got any involvement in any of it.
Yeah.
If you've got involvement, there are people here that will just flick a switch. Everything, because you've supported it, they're not going to support it.
Yeah, no,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, this is the same situation I was in previously.
If you don't have the emotional intelligence to remove yourself personally from a situation and look at it from a
objective.
From an objective position, you need to go. Do not put your hand up for council if you cannot remove yourself personally and look at it from an outside perspective on a neutral territory and understand what the best interest for the majority is.
Yeah, that's right. But, this is what we got.
Matt, edit some steam coming off my head. I can't handle it. That's it, though. That's what we got. Let's get out.
At the end of the day, when it comes to things like this, you put your argument forward, the decision's made, and you just got to walk away from it. Otherwise, it just drives you crazy.
Yeah.
So people, may see, you're not really interested after the, after the decision. It's not a matter of interested. It's a matter of you can't dwell on it.
Yeah, but
You
also that's how democracy works.
Yeah.
If you're there as one of many to make a vote, if the vote goes against what you wanted, that's now your opinion. That now has to be the direction of the council, and that is your adopted position.
Yep.
So regardless of what your personal opinion is beforehand, you can have that personal opinion. That's why you're there, to debate it before the motion is voted on. But after the vote goes through, that's the position that is now adopted.
That's right.
And so that's why, that needs to be, released. You can't dwell on it.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
Since
All
then,
right, let's
we've had a
continue.
lot of information, whether it be fact or fabricated. Nobody knows, because it's, as I said, it's hearsay or circumstantial at best. There's no actual evidence, and that's been borne out by the officer's recommendation 1411. Right? We need to be seen to be proactive, not reactive. By revoking it, we are being reactive, and we're not necessarily going to get the right outcome. I mean, the right outcome ultimately probably will be to close it down, but we need to be doing it for legal reasons, that they are going against all the guidelines that were given on the development application approval.
And was against.
Yeah, look, I'd just like to echo the comments by Deputy Mayor Christensen and Councillor Eckhart. My concern is around some of the language that has been used to describe the problem. The idea that there's some sort of cover-up being driven by the administration, I think is just outrageous.
Language.
Yeah.
It's quite clear that the administration...
Concerned about the language. We're in debate. You can actually say what you want to say in debate, and there should be no restriction on anybody saying anything. Okay. And to put restrictions on people within the debating area is, that's restricting the democratic process. And it has been ruled previously that you can say quite a bit within the debate, and there is no repercussions on the council members.
That's the point of debate. If you had to debate within restriction, then you might as well be scripted.
Exactly.
But again, what he's bringing up goes back to what I was saying before. He's worried about the language because it affects him. He doesn't like the way that you said cover up because it implicates him in being included in a cover up. If that is your level, go home.
Yeah, that's right.
You have completely disregarded the whole issue, but also the people that you're representing, which is why this has come up in the first place, of the community members who had a problem with this residence in the first place.
Yeah, that's right.
They're the ones being affected by this situation. What he's bringing up is what he's being affected about personally because of some words that you said.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a good point.
Let's go.
that the administration has done an investigation, and it's clear that there's insufficient evidence to substantiate the allegation. So, the idea that you would prosecute this via the chamber floor, by the community, without, any statutory investigation either by the council itself or, dare I say, by the police. If people have got a complaint or they've got evidence, guess what? Of criminal activity, you make the report to the police. That's a pretty basic premise.
And there's a deflection.
Exactly.
Again, don't implicate me. I'm not a part of this. Go to the police if you have a problem.
Yeah, this is not a police matter. This is a local government planning matter. The police. This is actually not a criminal act. Okay, the legislation allows prostitution to happen. Okay, so the police are not going to be looking at this. You're not allowed to have brothels within the residential areas. There's reasons
a planning
for
issue.
that. It's a planning and development issue.
Yeah.
And the town needs to deal with it. You can't issue licenses for brothels to operate within a residential area. So it's a local government thing. Police are not going to look at this stuff.
I mean, and the idea that, and again, I just reiterate the point that I find it really offensive that somehow we would imply that this administration is, undertaking a cover-up or hiding information. That's just unacceptable. So that's my point. And I will finish it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Anyone else for? No. Anyone else against? No. I'd like to sum up. Councillor Blanco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. None of my comments are out of order. We're in debate, and we're debating an item, and that's all there is to it. This is a planning matter. This is not a criminal investigation, and even if the people in the street reported this to the police, the police would tell you that it's a planning matter. So I think we need to apply a little bit of common sense here. And, the people that have told us about this, are the residents and the people that you represent.
That's exactly what I said.
And when they see something wrong, they come and tell us. And when you continue to ignore their requests, then, they lose faith in the council. Now, in that street, there's only, 6 houses. So, it's quite obvious. There's not many houses in there because I know all of the people there except one. So,
You're just waiting. You're just waiting for a pause for comedic effect.
That people are telling the truth. And if you think they're not telling the truth, well, that's your prerogative. But the right outcome is to shut it down and to remove the approvals. And what will happen is they'll just move somewhere else.
Yeah, that's right. It's just not in the correct spot.
And we'll be having this conversation again. So, do the right thing and support the motion to remove it. Thank you.
That's all. Okay, thank you. We'll now put it to the vote. Okay, all those in favour? 3. All those against?
4.
5. Yep. Motion's lost.
Councillor Christensen. Councillor.
Excuse me. Keep your voice down there. Keep your voice down. Excuse me. Excuse me. Keep your voice down in the chamber, please. I'll remove you, okay? Keep your voice down. Thank you.
Oh, he's going to remove
He's
it.
going to get removed.
Jeez, I'd like to see that. Jeez.
I mean, if
There is absolutely again. That's another thing. There's absolutely no. There's no ability for the council to actually remove anybody from a public place.
yeah, isn't the correct way of doing it to go to a recess or to suspend the meeting and then the council leaves until?
Well, the proper way to do it would be you would suspend the meeting, and then either by resolution or the administration would then call the police and request that the police come and remove an individual from the chambers. But council members removing them, that would go pear-shaped real quick. So what would happen if a council member decided, okay, I'm going to remove somebody, all right, and then put their hands on them and try and force them out.
It would be filmed.
Well, it would be assault.
Yeah.
So, you know, people need to understand that there's only specific, organisations that can actually do things like that. And the police is the only one, the law and order. Okay. You can't put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
Or think that you can do it. You can't.
Yeah.
You don't have the authority.
Yeah, but the way that he handles these situations, because this isn't the first time it's happened.
No.
He does this all the time whenever someone's yelling in the gallery. But the way he conducts himself there's no attempt in resolution. He's not trying to de-escalate the situation. He's just trying to shut them up.
Yeah.
And that just makes people madder.
It does, yeah.
So Councillor Christian moved it.
He's moving the officer.
The recommendation, yes. Is there a second there for councillors?
Oh, so this
is, I can see your face. This is when you realise.
I realise that there's another one. I thought, oh, this whole thing's been orchestrated. Yeah. Oh, dear. You know, because the motion popped up straight away. They developed it beforehand.
That's what I mean. That's what I said. The only time this has come up since then, and it's been referred to on multiple occasions before this point. The only time it flicked up was once or twice for a couple of seconds, and then it was brought down again.
Yeah. I know. So anyway, what do you do if that's what you're dealing with? You know, it's what you're dealing with.
Is there anyone against?
Is anyone against?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Christensen.
I don't want to go back through and rehash what's already been said. I think the officer's recommendation, as a lot of councillors have said previously, speaks for itself. Again, not an easy debate. Not one of the resting on the laurels. Again, the only thing I can give confidence in is, again, as per Section 2, request the CEO continue to conduct investigations. It's pivotal to understand that we as council take a holistic approach to decisions and discussions made. With these discussions, we weigh up all the pros and all the cons, and again, it's very hard to go against legal advice that states very clearly.
Again, contradicting himself. We weigh up all the pros and all the cons,
but he didn't.
You know, and then it's hard to go against legal advice. Well, it's advice for a start, so it's easy to go against that. You just do what you do when you represent the people of the town. I don't see, much support in what the people have actually said, leading up to this position. They've effectively thrown everything out that's been said by the public.
Yep.
The people that have been affected by this.
That's what I've been saying.
That there's more information required to act. So not apologising for decisions made and for the stances drawn here. Other than that, again, I'll suggest that again it's councillors around the table now. The revoke's done, and this motion will draw some more chances to, if this is happening, to try and find out what is happening and go further into the investigation. So lead further conversations and see where it goes.
Right. Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Councillor Turner.
Oh,
sorry, you go. Right. No, what?
So easily we forget. Look, one of the things you learn when you come on a council is this level of acceptance. Now, we can't necessarily accept that what is going on behind closed doors at 5 Jibson Close is actually what they said they were going to be doing.
So there's doubt there. So this is what I don't get. There's, the
first thing he said, when you join council, the first thing you learn is level of acceptance. Yeah. And you're accepting that this is the standard that you're happy to accept.
Exactly.
That's the the acceptance that you should be looking at. Someone has come and complained. Multiple people have come up with evidence, whether it's circumstantial or not. No, it's not even circumstantial. There's 6 houses on the street.
Yeah, but look. The other thing that would have been real helpful to council was for the people that actually are running this business to come up and saying, "Hey, no, we are not doing what you're saying we're doing."
Yeah, I did think that was weird last meeting as well. If someone was speaking ill about your business,
Exactly, I'd be straight up there giving them hell.
unless
You're doing the wrong thing.
Chatter around
exactly.
it will certainly support that, and I'm sure Councillor Blanco will agree with that. However, we also need to have a level of acceptance where if we lose our pitched battle amongst the debate, we need to accept and move on to the next item of business. This is the next item. This is still the same premises, and it is the next course of action for us to take. If something is against the planning application and they're not complying with all the provisions as set out when the approval was given, then the CEO's investigations will, I'm sure, bear that out, and in time we can remove by rights, by following through the procedures, the approval for the massage premises at 5 Jibson Close.
So what did you take about that comment there?
he just rehashed everything that has already happened. It's just a merry-go-round of words, you know. He's saying, well, let's follow the process. That's exactly what's happening. It's gone around twice. This is its second time. Well, it's its third time because the last motion was lost. This is the third time it's gone around. And every single time they have not budged from their personal positions.
Yeah.
They have not, taken into consideration the public and what multiple people have come up and spoken about on multiple meetings. They're not budging. And that's not the job of a councillor. Yes, let's go through the procedure. That's exactly what's happening. But if they're unsure, the right answer is not to blindly follow the administration and hide behind them and hope they get it right. That's not the point.
Yeah. Yep.
It annoys me to death. Everything that I've said this whole episode, everything that I've said, it keeps on coming back up. If you do not have the emotional intelligence to take yourself out of the situation, go home. If you don't have the just general intelligence to understand that there's something going on here, and then have the ambition or the interest in your own job to do your own, looking into things, if that's what's necessary to do in your position, go home. How many times have they spoken to each other and the administration, but not a single one of them would have reached out to any of these people that have come up and asked questions at council? Or the person that, submitted the complaint in the first place. They all have their information.
That's right.
It's that simple.
Oh, well.
Anyone against? Councillor Blanco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't understand what Councillor Christensen said about the revoke is done. It's not done. It was dismissed by the council. Now, much the same as what you've been saying about evidence, or the council has been saying about evidence, and how the people haven't got the evidence, and we don't know because it's behind closed doors and the rest of the rubbish that I've heard. How is the administration then going to find out what's going on? They're not, unless they bust down the door. So there you have it. You haven't supported a motion to revoke, and you've created a situation that allows an illegal business to operate from that premises. Good
That's
job,
right.
council.
Yeah. Yeah, there's doubt there. If this was a court proceeding and you were a jury member, you have to base your vote on reasonable doubt.
Well, yeah, the evidence that's provided, the people that have come up and told you different things.
That's
you know?
right.
Exactly.
The evidence provided, that's it. Your personal, whatever you've got skin in the game doesn't matter. You look at the evidence, you take yourself out of the situation, you make a reasonable decision. In this decision, in this situation, is it 100% certain that all they're doing at that premises is a massage business? If you were a jury member in this situation, there would be reasonable doubt.
Absolutely.
Because multiple witnesses have said that something else is happening at that premises.
And the business owner has not come to defend themselves.
That's right. There's no testimony from the owner.
This is a one-way subject. That's right.
This is why our court system is screwed. Because these are the people that are going into the juries. But anyway, let's continue.
Okay, anyone else for?
Yes, I would like to actually have to say something. I said that all through the meeting tonight, it's always been stressed about the extra workload that the staff have to do. So are we going to add more load on, and how long is this investigation going to take before someone comes to something?
Good, thank you, Councillor Butson.
Did she just pick for or against?
I don't know.
Okay, anyone else against? Anyone else for? Like to sum up? Councillor Christensen.
I guess it was brought to me and asked how I can say the revoke is done, and that was.
He's more interested in what I'm
you've had to
saying
say,
about him, rather than talking to the actual motion.
Yeah.
You know, the comment on revoke is done. I didn't get that. No, the revoke is not done. It's been dismissed.
Yeah.
So.
And you're still in debate about the same subject.
Yes.
If that's your opinion, you're allowed to argue in that direction. It does. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't make any sense. But again, if you only have the emotional capacity to bring up something that affects you personally and completely disregard everyone else's, opinion on the situation or how the members of the public that you're supposed to represent are affected in the situation.
Pointing at the fact that we've just had the revoke conversation by way of diplomacy, the council has spoken. Now, we've got all these rules about adverse reflection on decisions made. Now, this is where we as a council need to start to be able to trust one another as a collective to make decisions here.
This comment from him is inappropriate. All right. You're debating emotion. Effectively, what they're saying, and Eckhart also said the same thing in one of his comments in the start of this, is, okay, the revoking motion didn't get up. You need to support this motion. That's what they're saying. Okay. We need to come together and support this motion. Well, actually, no, you don't. If you don't agree with it, you don't agree with it. And that's all there is to it. Okay. If you want a council member to actually agree with this motion, you got to put a good argument up, something that is much better than the other bloke's argument, and that hasn't been done. There's no evidence to suggest that these guys are actually doing the right thing. There's a lot of evidence to suggest they're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So where's the argument to sway the council members that don't agree with this into their camp?
Yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah. And regardless of that, you're still in debate.
Exactly.
Just because you didn't get the first option that you wanted doesn't mean that okay, then I guess I was wrong. That's the wrong attitude to have.
No. Yeah.
Until the vote has been made and a position has been adopted, you're entitled to your opinion and you have the right to fight for it.
Yeah. But again, in support of what the community wants. Okay. And here, the absolute majority of the people that have come in have been opposing this. There isn't anybody that's actually come up and said, yes, we agree with this hooker's house being in a residential area. We know what they're doing in there and we agree with it being there. Nobody said that. You know, the business owners haven't come up themselves. We've said that a few times now.
Regardless to sniggering in the crowd and regardless to what everybody seems to think, again, it comes down to the fact that a decision was made on the night, and I don't take kindly to, suggesting that again it's job well done by the council. Again, it brings even more disrespect to the decision made by council, and again, this is what the community keep telling us to get out of the media, get out of the front of the group. Have these hard conversations, frank conversations, and I welcome that. I usually be the first one to sit there and upset some people usually. Frank conversations are great.
I don't know about that.
But again, they need to be done with a purpose and moving forward and to develop and grow. Again, we sit here and say that, theoretically what I'm hearing is, again, if it's good for the pub test, we should run with it. Well, I bring up the basic premises of procedural fairness. There's two sides of a story, and unfortunately, we can't necessarily just side with one because it's just community based. We've got to take a whole consideration that small business is still community.
That would have been easy to support. His comments there would have been easy to support if the business owners had actually come in.
I was about to say that. He said there's two sides of the story. Well, actually, there isn't.
No, there is not. It would have been easy to support if the business owners had come in. That's right. And they never did.
Again, I commend the organisation and the administration for doing what they can do and keep bringing it up and not resting on laurels to go, again, it could have been easy to say, okay, what's done is done and off we go. We're still putting things forward to try and see, again, how can we manage this? How can we make sure the community are happy with the decisions moving forward? And again, I don't apologise for making these hard decisions. And again, I don't suggest that anyone would want to be sitting in these chairs making these decisions. But again, we're the lucky 9 that get to make these decisions. And
again, just the deflecting, like, I don't know if I made the right decision, so I'm just going to say that my job's really hard and you shouldn't come after me if I made the wrong decision, but right now I think I'm blah, 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 blah. I can't. I just... It doesn't make any sense to me. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's just rambling. He's just hoping that if he says enough words and throws them out, that no one knows what he's talking about. And he's like, oh, well, obviously, maybe he does know what he's talking about because he's saying a lot of stuff, but I can't understand anything. It is... I feel my brain leaking out of my ear.
I thank everyone for the debate tonight. And again, thanks for the debate, and the motion will be what the motion will be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The motion will be what the motion will be. Oh, wow. Like I said again, might as well get rid of the whole council, put in a hiring panel, just let the admin run the joint.
Yep.
What will be, Sarah, Sarah.
I'm now put to the vote. All those in favour? Five. Yep. Was against? 3. Motion's carried.
All right, well, that's it. They got what they wanted. It was a weak argument. They said there's no evidence to say that, bad things are happening. There's no evidence for them doing the right thing either. What do you do?
You just box on. We go again at the next month's meeting, and we just try and put our opinions forward, and hopefully we're supporting the people that live in the town.
Well, I guess we'll find out at the next meeting. Well, not the next meeting. The February meeting.
Oh, that the February meeting the motion of no confidence comes up again.
Well, then that'll be an interesting one. Yes. All right. Well, this will probably be cut up into quite a few pieces because the recording went on for a lot longer than we anticipated. I needed a lot of breaks to fan the steam from my head. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, if you have any questions, enter them down in the comments or, give us a call. I will put the email down below. Send us whatever comments or questions you have. And we'll see you at the next one.
See you later.